Hey guys, before we get started, I wanted to give a big thank you to Mr. Pants for his generous $50 donation on Patreon. Not only is this a huge financial contribution and a huge help, but this also tips the balance for me for a particular project that I wanted to start. So, because of Mr. Pants, you guys are going to be seeing something new here in the next few weeks. As part of the tier that he is now in, not only does he get the free War is Hell t-shirt, which I'm pretty sure I told you today in the op it is in the mail, but if not, it is in the mail. But also, he gets access to information about the next alternate history series, and you can kind of see as I'm working on various things, which is pretty cool. So if you guys are wanting to be a part of that, check out the Patreon to kind of see what's out there. But of course, this part here is a big thank you to Mr. Pants. So give him a big, huge thumbs up, like, comment, hype, whatever you guys want. I'm just absolutely floored by the amount of support that I get from you guys. So now let's get to the video. Hello Warfighters, War is Hell. For those of you who've been a part of this channel for some time, you guys know that at the end of an alternate history series, I like to go ahead and do my own personal retrospective, how I think I did, what I could improve on, and stuff like that. I also want to open this up to you guys to provide some feedback as well. So as part of this, I also release a survey or a very short questionnaire for you guys to fill out to let me know how I did. So in the description below, you guys will find a link to where you can take that. I would definitely appreciate it if you just have a few minutes to let me know kind of what you thought about how this channel is going too, and some other side questions. That would be awesome. Now, before I get to the retrospective though, I did want to remind everybody that in a couple weeks we're having a multiplayer event for Operation Unthinkable. So if you want to invite your units, your friends, whoever, you guys can come play. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're working out the finer details now, but it should be happening in a couple weeks. So I'll make a video about it, everything. You guys are all welcome to come, but just keep that in mind. Of course, the biggest thing I want to be able to say in this video, in addition to providing my own feedback on how the series went, is just a big thank you to all of you. I'm always impressed with and also very humbled by the amount of support that I get from you guys. You guys are really awesome, and I couldn't do this without you guys. So thank you for making Operation Unthinkable and this channel a lot more successful than I ever thought it was going to be. You guys are awesome. So, okay. What I decided to do is just answer a few questions from the survey, kind of go a little bit more in depth and some other things as well. I don't have notes. You guys have probably noticed with how this video is going. It's a lot more off the cuff than a lot of other videos that I do, but I feel like that this allows me to be able to come into this and kind of think about things and also give you guys my genuine, heartfelt feedback on how things went. So the first question that I've got here is, how much did I enjoy the Operation Unthinkable series? From the standpoint of a mission creation, this was hands down probably the most fun that I've had from a alternate history standpoint. One of the things that's nice is with Unthinkable being the third series that I've done is now I can kind of see some progression. I have a trend that I can start to follow, and I think overall I'm getting a lot better with some of this, which just gets me super excited, just kind of knowing what's down the road and where things have kind of gone. I feel like that this was the most difficult alternate history series to do from a number of different ways. I think for the most part, I was more intimidated about doing this series than any other one that I'd done in the past, because here we are talking World War II, and this is an era that a lot of people absolutely love and a lot of people are very knowledgeable about. And here I am kind of putting my own spin on it, and I definitely saw some of that, but I think overall it turned out pretty well. It was also very difficult because I don't think I had ever done a series on this scale before, talking about a world conflict. You know, we had talked about the Falkland Islands, which would be very tiny of a conflict in comparison to Operation Unthinkable. And the Second Korean War just took place on the Korean Peninsula. So here I am going with different parts of the world, having to find a number of different maps to kind of help tell the story. I think, you know, because of the complexity of everything that I had to go up against and how well I was able to get through some of the challenges I faced, it was very rewarding from that regards. And I've mentioned this in other series, but I just feel like I get pushed to be better and better. So that is always also something that I enjoy as well. So this was, like I said, hands down, I think the most fun that I had. I even decided to extend it a couple episodes. One based off of what you guys said, but also because I didn't want to stop quite doing this yet. This was a blast. I think another thing that that helped me kind of enjoy this a lot more was you all were more included in the process. Those of you who came by the live streams that I would do at night, where I'm going ahead and creating these missions, I got your guys' feedback. And so to be able to connect with you guys and also for you guys to kind of see what was coming down the road, I think made it a little bit more enjoyable as well. There's a reward for coming to the live streams because we would add, little things in there that only people at the live stream would notice, or we would start to develop our own inside jokes a little bit. Like in the Warsaw Uprising mission, we had like names for every single person that was part of the squad. So when somebody went down, like in my head, I was trying to not be like, oh, there goes insert name of the person that, they're the name that we gave him. Oh, like he went down. I had to be like, oh no, I lost another guy and not use his name because you guys wouldn't have known that. So that was really, really cool and something I hope to continue moving forward. So next question. What was your favorite video from the series and why? This is going to be a tough one actually for me because there's a lot of ones that really, really stand out. If I had to say what was my absolute favorite, I would have to say the Second Battle of Berlin. Now, the reason why is I went into that one thinking that, oh man, this is going to be super, super tough to do. I was super excited to see that they have an alpha Battle of Berlin map, and I'm like, sweet, I can go ahead and I can tweak this to be exactly what I want, the Second Battle of Berlin. Now, I came across a lot of challenges, especially those of you who were on the live stream. You guys saw that. Essentially, one of the things that I discovered is there seemed to be a particle limiter when it came to smoke, because what I wanted to do was have the path that I was going to take lined with fire and smoke and everything like that, but because you're limited to the amount of smoke that you had, I had so many spots laid down that no smoke was coming out, if that makes sense, or if it was smoke was barely coming out at all. So what I had to do to try and get around that is as I would turn a corner, I would have all the fire and smoke behind me get deleted, and then the new ones would get spawned. Now, if you guys go back and watch it, you guys will probably notice that, but I think what, in addition to getting through that particular challenge, being like, yes, I did it, I think it was hands down the most visually appealing mission that I have done. I thought the aesthetics of it were just amazing. Like it at night, not having NVG, so nothing's green. But to be able to kind of be guided by fire explosions, you had the flares that were coming down, meaning the smoke. That was such an awesome mission to go and play through, and I was playing with an MG42, so that was absolutely awesome. So if I had to pick just one, it would be that one. Another one that I absolutely loved doing was the heroic RAF Ace, where I'm in virtual reality and flying a Spitfire. That was like a dream come true to be able to do something like that. And I don't know if it kind of came off here in the episode, but that was so much fun for me to do. I mean, there's also different missions that were cool. Like I was super excited to showcase the French in French support. That was awesome because I was like, oh, I finally get a chance to do something as the French. And I think it turned out pretty well, minus one thing I'll kind of talk about a little bit later. But all of these I actually really enjoyed. Like I'm looking through the list right now. The last one, the Final Assault, that was really cool, playing in the Pacific for an episode. But all of these, there was something cool that I absolutely liked. I was just surprised, though, that German Uprising, the very first episode, really took off. It's the second most viewed video on my channel. So that one kind of stands out, too, because I think a lot of that, or I should say some of you, came just from that one video alone. So pretty sweet. Okay, I'm interested to see what you guys say, though, because, Poland was something that really stood out. I've had a few people kind of take this questionnaire already, and some people kind of mentioned that, but I'm interested to see what you guys thought. All right, what did I do well in this series? That's the next question. I hate doing this because I feel like I'm just talking myself up. I think one of the things I did was kind of get this, try to be more historical in this than I have in ones in the past. The Second Korean War, there's some literature, of course, that I read on how that would unfold, some research that I did, and same thing with the Falklands War, there really wasn't as much, but with this one, it was really cool being able to go and actually read the Operation Unthinkable document and draft some missions based off of some of the things that it forecasted. For example, the 2-episode mission arc in Iran was based off of a couple sentences that was in Operation Unthinkable that basically talked about how the Soviets would likely invade the Middle East, and there wasn't really much that the British could do because I think they only had a few Indian regiments even or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was very, very limited, and they basically said the Soviets would curb stomp them in the Middle East. So that's kind of where that one came from. And then a lot of different things in there as well, like the 100,000 Germans that were going to be rearmed that actually came from the document. Being able to implement history into it was pretty sweet. Of course, I had to divert a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but I had to make one significant diversion from Operation Unthinkable, and that is with nuclear weapons, because Unthinkable didn't mention nuclear weapons at all, but we know that they would have played a factor, especially, if you go back and you learn anything about World War II. I also read some top secret American documents too, and this is where the nukes came from, or the timeline that I assigned to the nukes, which basically said that, and this was written before Trinity and everything, that the U.S. could produce 2 atomic bombs, or 1 atomic bomb every 2 weeks until October 1945, which you could then produce 1 a week. And so just kind of knowing that, that's kind of what led to how this was going to unfold. Knowing that the United States having nukes, the Soviet Union didn't, that would be a huge game changer here. So there's that. So history did it. I think I did a pretty decent job this time around with maps too, especially knowing that I have to be all around the world for this. So having different maps that kind of help tell the story, I think did a pretty good job. I think I did a pretty good job with mods too. I had a ton of mods for this. So having to go through everything sometimes could be very difficult, and I'd be surprised, what was in there and what wasn't and everything. But I was, and I said this at the beginning, I think I did a good job at telling the story this time around, especially something this large. Story-driven stuff is obviously what you guys have noticed, the thing that I try to make my bread and butter. I try to make every mission kind of tell a story, whether it's alternate history, whether it's mil sim, whatever it is. I want a story to be behind it so you guys can feel involved in it. So I think I did a decent job with that this time. What could I have improved from this series? There's a couple things, and I'm not necessarily saying that I did some things wrong, but here's one thing that kind of stood out. So in the French support mission, which again I absolutely loved because I got a chance to play as the French. When I'm going through this, especially when I have all the mods that I do, and I've never been disappointed with mods before. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that I got about this mission was, hey, you're saying you got the mods 36, but you're rolling with a Mosin. And I was. Not because that was something intentional, but as I'm going through the list and I know exactly which mod it was, it said Mods 36. I'm like, awesome. So I'll just go ahead and select that and I'm good to go. And I didn't think to have to double check to make sure that what the weapon says it is actually what model is presented here. So like if you go back and watch it again, it says Mods 36 in the top right. That's what I selected, but I got a Mosin and just ended up playing the mission. So I don't know if I need to double check every single accessory or weapon or uniform that I kind of end up using in a mission, but I can understand why some people were kind of put off by that. I don't think it was that big of a deal, but then again, people have different things that they kind of focus on, so I'll understand that and try and get better with it. I think another thing too, and this is kind of a success here based off of your guys' feedback, was adding, and I did this partway through, was adding individuals' names to the title, because I think a lot of you guys wanted to be able to have that connection to the person that I'm playing as. You know, if he ends up dying, this guy's got a name and everything like that. I might want to try to see if I can capitalize on that a little bit more than I had in the past, and maybe even go so far as to have recurring people, so that way you guys get tied to an individual. So in the next alternate history series, I kind of have that factored in a little bit on the different sides that are going to be there. The one thing I'm going to have to be careful of is I don't want it to restrict the story too much, because one person, you know, like in the case of the French right here, I only play this, one episode as the French, but if I, stuck with the same people, then I would have either made British or American the whole time, and I wouldn't have been able to show some of the different countries and kind of show how this would have been a world conflict. So that's kind of something that I'm going to have to keep in mind, but trying to see what I can do a little bit more to make you guys feel more attached to something that I think I need to work on for the next episode. So those are the two things I guess I can really think of off the top of my head. Not necessarily wrong, but just some things that I can get better. Again, this is another one I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what you guys say. So don't forget to check out the survey. All in all, this was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed this series, and I hope that kind of comes out here in this too. Most successful one that I think I've done, hands down, and I just like how I'm getting better and better. The cinematics, I think, were the best that I have ever done. Some of the cinematics, man, my favorite cinematic that I did was the American Paratroopers one, when the C-47, I think is what it is, gets shot down and it's about to crash. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a good clip. Like, I got really, really excited when I was making that. And going back and looking at some of these, like I said, some of the best cinematics I think that I've done, and it gets me super excited to see what I'm going to be able to do in the next episode, which actually brings me to a question that I have for you guys. Some of you know this, some of you don't. In the next few weeks, I mean, we're talking 3 weeks from now, my wife and I are going to have another kid, and so I'm going to have to take a hiatus for a few weeks while I take care of my wife while she recovers, and also take care of my kids, which means I'm not going to have time for this. No offense. I mean, it's not that I don't like you guys. It's straight up my time is needed elsewhere. That being said, I can go ahead and start the next alternate history series, but I'm going to have to take some time away right in the middle of it, like basically right after I start it. So here's the question I've got for you guys. Do I, well, there's three options I can think of, so I want to hear what you guys think. One, I can go ahead and start it and stop during the time that, I'm going to be away. Two, I can give you guys the introduction and then just not post the Arma ones until I get back. Or three, I can just wait for everything until I get back. So I'm interested to see what you guys would think, because obviously I do this for all of you. Well, for me too. I have a lot of fun doing this, but I want to make sure that things are done well. I know it's going to hurt my views, the income that I get from this, and everything else here by taking this hiatus. But I want to make sure I do it right by you guys and make it as easy as possible for you too. So let me know in the comment section below what you think I should do there. Again, in the description, you guys will find that survey. Please take it. But that is really what I thought about Operation Unthinkable. It was a lot of fun. It's pretty sweet. I mean, again, just going back and looking at some of these videos, I'm like, oh, great memories here. I'm watching the American Paratroopers one actually right now while I'm going ahead and talking to you, just because I wanted to see those cinematics. I'm like, oh yeah, that was actually pretty cool playing as a paratrooper. And I'm glad I didn't go into like American Paratrooper mode. In fact, I could have really focused on the Americans, but I didn't intentionally. I think that turned out pretty well. Just the multinational, series here, playing both sides pretty fairly too. That was another thing I tried to do a lot better than the Second Korean War was try to make it more balanced with the different countries that I ended up playing with. So hopefully I did that well. Anyway, I could talk about this for a really, really long time, and I'm probably boring you all. So I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. Like the video if you guys enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe for more content. Again, we're going to have that alternate history series coming pretty soon, depending on what you guys want. So I hope you guys will be a part of that as well. If you guys want to be like Mr. Pants and get some pretty cool rewards, there is the Patreon. Please donate to that if you can. Like I said, there's going to be something cool starting because of his donation and everybody else's too. So I'm glad that we've kind of reached that particular goal, and I've got a lot more ahead. So if you can donate, please do. Definitely helpful. Also, join our Discord. We've got a lot of great conversations in there about videos, about our community unit that we've got going, and a number of other things too. So I'd love to have you be a part of that as well. Thanks again for watching, you guys. I appreciate it. War is hell. You don't have to worry, because war fighters, I've got your 6.